Welcome once again, and thank you for your valued presence and your deep attention and focus. I'm really proud of you. I'm happy to have you as my student. And if you're watching this video, really proud of you. So, in this class, as you know, we are dealing two poems which we prescribed in our syllabus. To study from Kamala Das. The grandmother's house and the freaks. So we start with grandmother's house and move on to the freaks. Kamala Das needs no introduction, but I just want to mention something about her writing style, which for non for which is a very candid, confessional style of writing. She was the first one to write very boldly about a personal experience of a woman and her emotions and her themes. If you look at that, themes of love, desire, and relationship. So ultimately, the love and relationship, both the themes come in these two poems. And if you look at the influence of her poetry, she challenged the traditional norms, and she was a very strong feminist voice and a cultural social commentary. First thing, as a traditional norms. She explored female sexuality and desire and questioned societal and general norms in India. You know that I'm just repeating again. And a strong advocate of female voice, and she spoke about the experience and issues of women in Indian society, and she provided insight into post-colonial Indian society, and she also expressed the conflict between tradition and modernity. This is what we need to know about her. Now we come to the part of a summary. Before I go to the poem, just run through the summary. As you know, my grandmother's house, obviously, it's a nostalgic poem. The speaker goes back to grandmother's. All of us have a grandmother's or grandfather's house, and which we celebrate. And it's certainly a poem speaks about her long lost house, one where she once felt comfort, where she felt love, security. And she speaks about her grandmother's death, and she speaks about the books they had, and she could not read at the time. When then what happens is that the profound impact on grandmother's death in this baby, in this child. Then she recurring dreams. She wants to go back once there to peek through the windows, and she says that she want to bring some what you may call silence, some darkness from there to her own house, so that it will be like what you may call a mopping dog. And she says that I was once loved and respected and protected, and today I have to wander to find the love. So sense of nostalgia lost for what she had. It all happens with us too. We only know the value when we lose. So this is a poem, dear, just for you to get a feeling. There is a house now far away where once I received love. So there's a long dot. So the house is far. Once she was received love. So there is no love in her life right now. That woman died. So there is a cold distancing, but at the same time, we can understand her pain. The house withdrew into silence. Snakes moved among books. I was then too young to read, and my blood turned cold like the moon. So that is the impact of her grandmother's death on her. How often I think of going there to peer through blind eyes of windows or just listen to the frozen air. So strongly in nostalgia, in or in wild despair, pick an armful of darkness to bring it here to life. So at least she wants what she wants to bring, an armful of darkness to lie behind my bedroom door like a brooding dog. You cannot believe, darling. So the speaker is addressing someone. We understand. Can you that I lived in such a house and I was proud and loud? I, who have lost my way and beg now at strangers' doors to receive love, at least in small change. So, what do we call a lack of love in her present life? So, if you look at the theme, longing and nostalgia and loneliness and desire comes in. So, it's a very simple poem to understand. Sometimes they may ask some lines, so that's why we delved into that part. Now, we come to the second. A poem which is prescribed for us, which is The Freaks. Since the title is it is freaks, so ultimately here she speaks only about one freak, that is she. And if you who were the freaks, that is certainly Kamala Das and her husband, who is old and cold in a romantic relationship, whereas she is young. So that is the contrast. So let me introduce the poem to you. Actually, ultimately, the poem speaks about the marriage of the couple where there is no love. Actually, there's a phrase where there is empty cistern of heart that clearly shows that there is no love. between them. The husband is old, only attracted towards the outward appearance of her, not unable to enjoy the inner beauty. And you know the word freak means it is abnormal. And it's a contrast between her beauty and her husband's old age. And if you look at the summary, you can see that the first 9 lines is a description of her husband. Then in the second 9 to 10 to 17 lines speaks about the lovelessness and the lustful nature of their failed love. And last 2 lines, the poet calling herself and her husband freaks because of their queer relationship and her strong own sexual desire. Now we come to the poem. So first 9 lines about her husband. He talks, turning a sun-tained cheek to me. His mouth a dark cavern, cavern, where stalactites are the white ice particles, stalactites of uneven teeth gleam. His right hand on my knee. So sometimes we ask you, what does that represent, the right hand on knee? That represents the patriarchal power. On my knee, while our minds are willed to race towards love, but they only wander, tripping idly over puddles of desire. So they want love, but there is no love. Can this man with nimble finger tips unleash nothing more alive than the skin's lazy hunger? So here she clearly speaks, he's only interested in the outer beauty of her. She doesn't. That is what skin's lazy hungers. Who can help us, who have lived so long and have failed in love? The heart, an empty cistern. That, as I told you, the lovelessness. The heart is like empty cistern. Cistern, the tank behind the toilet where you flush. Waiting through long hours fills itself with coiling snakes of silence. So there is nothing in the heart, only the coiling snakes of silence. I am a freak. So though the title is freaks, she openly says I am a freak. It's only to say my face. I flaunt at times a grand flamboyant lust. So she says sometimes she only pretends to her husband to feel that he is what we call protected. She flaunt and to save her face times a grand flamboyant lust. So she acts in their relationship. So that's how the poem ends. So there are some MCQs for both. So thank you very much for watching. I'll see you in the next class. Until then, take care and bye-bye.